I need to take my sister to the hospital. Can you lend me some money? My 8-year-old grandson walked an hour through the heavy snow to our house. He carried his 2-year-old sister, who had a fever, on his back. They both looked quite worn out. But what are my son and his wife doing? As I tried to bring my freezing grandchildren into the house, my husband shouted, "No way we're lending money." Seeing my grandson scared of my husband, I tried to calm things down, saying, "You don't have to be so harsh." But he ignored me and did something even more shocking. My name is May, and I'm a 60-year-old housewife. I lived peacefully with my 65-year-old husband, Tom. We have a son named Dave, who got married and moved out 10 years ago. He has 2 children, 8-year-old Joe and 2-year-old Susie, who are the apples of our eyes. Tom and I always looked forward to their visits. However, 3 months ago, Dave's behavior changed, and things took a turn for the worse. Dave had always been a bit irresponsible, even when he lived with us, often leaving laundry piled up. To make matters worse, his wife seemed to struggle with housework too. I once visited their home shortly after they got married, and it was always a mess with clothes scattered everywhere. How will these two manage after having kids? But 10 years later, when they visited us, both grandkids were healthy, and Joe, especially, was very mature for his age, which reassured me. Then, out of the blue, Dave showed up with the kids. Joe is such a good helper with the housework. He's a big help. Oh, really? I'm glad he didn't take after you. Haha, what do you mean by that? I smiled at Dave, who was trying to be playful. But even though Joe was mature, he was still just 8 years old. With parents who struggled with housework, I worried about the burden on him. "Grandma, can I have some allowance?" "Of course. You're such a good boy helping your parents. You deserve a reward." I took out a $10 bill, but then my son quickly snatched my wallet. "Hey Dave, what are you doing?" "Oh, come on. You should be more generous to your first grandchild. $10 isn't enough." He took a $100 bill from my wallet without asking. This happened several times, until Tom finally lost his temper and scolded Dave harshly. But this backfired. Tom, with his stern look and stubborn personality, had always intimidated the grandkids. After he yelled at Dave with a terrifying expression, the grandkids said they didn't want to come to our house anymore. So the last time I saw my grandkids was 3 months ago. Since then, only my son has visited occasionally, always demanding allowance for the grandkids. "Can't you let me see my grandkids? If you want to see them so badly, use a video call." "Oh, but you're not good with that tech stuff, right, Mom?" Dave snickered mockingly. And he was right. Tom and I didn't even know how to use the internet. "Anyway, I need money." "Where's your wallet?" He only cared about the allowance for the grandkids, rummaging through our stuff. I sighed in exasperation. "The wallet is in the safe. I made sure you can't take money without asking any more." "Huh, whatever." With those words, Dave left quickly. Realizing that he had only been visiting for money, I felt a mix of emotions. Despite that, he was wearing an expensive watch and a gold necklace. Is he living within his means? Since getting married, his spending had become excessive, with a taste for luxury. He worked for a company dealing in children's products and earned a good salary, but his spending seemed out of control. As I pondered this, he stopped visiting us altogether. 3 months later, on a snowy night, someone rang the doorbell. "What? Joe, what happened?" Standing at the door was my grandson, carrying his baby sister on his back. "Susie has a fever. I need to take her to the hospital. Can you lend me some money?" Both of them looked gaunt and shabby, their clothes worn and poor. Seeing Joe, who had walked through the heavy snow with his sister on his back, I was stunned. How did it come to this? What are Dave and his wife doing? In my confusion and worry, I tried to bring my freezing grandchildren inside, but my husband shouted, "No way we're lending money." Joe immediately trembled in fear. Seeing Tom's sternness, my grandson was completely scared. "Now's not the time to say such things, is it?" As I tried to calm Tom, he suddenly rushed to the kids and hugged them tightly. Joe and I were both too shocked to speak. "It's not that I won't lend you money. If you need it, we'll give you everything. You can rely on us for anything. You're not angry, are you?" I'm furious with our stupid son and his wife, but there's no way I'd abandon our grandchildren in this state. Tom was crying while holding our grandchildren, who were in such a pitiful condition. Though he's stubborn and often misunderstood, he deeply loves his grandchildren. Soon after, Tom, Joe, and I took Susie to the hospital. The doctor examined her and said her condition wasn't life-threatening, and she'd recover quickly. We were able to bring her home the same day. As Susie fell asleep immediately upon returning home, Joe looked at her with relief. We decided to talk to Joe. What he told us made Tom and me shudder. Mom and Dad leave everything to me and go out. I do the dishes, clean the bathroom, and even clean the toilet. Do you know where they go during that time? No, but Mom comes back with lots of fancy bags, and Dad smells like delicious food. From Joe's story, it seemed his mom was buying expensive bags. It also seemed that they were going out to eat without the kids. They probably weren't even feeding their children properly. That's why you've gotten so thin. Tom gently stroked Joe's arm. Dad says we're his money tree. Tom and I were shocked by Joe's unexpected words. He films us looking all skinny and posts it online. What? Is that true? Yeah. He says he's raising money from people who feel sorry for us through something called crowdfunding. What's that crowdfunding thing? Crowdfunding is a way to collect money from a large number of people online. In other words, our son and his wife had been neglecting their children for 3 months to garner sympathy and money from strangers. Realizing this explained why Dave had been keeping the grandkids from us, and Tom and I trembled with anger and shock. What are those two thinking? Call Dave right now. Get him here immediately. I called my son from my phone, but I couldn't reach him. That's strange. Is he not home? Hey Joe, do you know where your parents are? They said they were going to Hawaii and told me to take care of the house. What? Dave and his wife had gone on a trip, leaving the kids behind. But Joe didn't know any more details. Maybe we'll find something at their house. My husband drove us and the grandkids to our son's house and used the key Joe had given us to get in. The place was still a mess, with no clear space to walk. We carefully made our way through the clutter, moving things aside as we went. Then my husband shouted, "Hey, I found this next to the phone." He held up a piece of paper with a date, time, letters, and numbers on it. Could this be? I looked up the string of characters on my phone, and sure enough, it was an airline and flight number. That meant the date and time were when they flew to Hawaii and when they were returning home. We figured out they were coming back the next day at 4 p.m. Fueled by anger, we prepared to confront them for the grandchildren's sake. We decided to stay at their house that night. We cooked a delicious meal for the grandkids, and Joe, with tears streaming down his face, devoured it, saying, "It's so good, so good." And Susie ate heartily too. Seeing this brought tears to our eyes as well. After giving the grandkids a bath and putting them to bed, I contacted someone on my phone. Dave and his wife will not get away with this. Just wait and see. The next day at 4 p.m., the four of us were at the airport. The lobby was filled with people eagerly waiting to reunite with those coming off the flight. Among them, Tom and I waited with furrowed brows. Eventually, our son and his wife appeared, adorned with Hawaiian leis and looking cheerful from their trip. "Welcome back. Looks like you had a fun trip." "Ugh. WH, why are you two here?" The moment they saw us, they tried to turn around and leave, but Tom grabbed their shoulders firmly, not letting them go. "Let's hear your side of the story." "Hey, let go. Let me go." While Dave struggled, his wife started shouting for security. Initially planning to talk somewhere private, we had no choice but to question them right there. "Dave, Joe told us everything. You treated our grandkids terribly." Joe, you ratted us out to Grandma?" "Shut up." Joe flinched as Tom tried to grab him, but Tom stopped him. He grabbed Dave by the collar, causing him to choke out a sound. "Please stop." Dave's wife cried out, drawing the attention of bystanders. I took a deep breath and yelled from the bottom of my lungs, "You left all the housework to the kids and went on a trip to Hawaii. Why didn't you take them with you?" "Well, Dave stuttered, sweating profusely, his eyes darting around. "If you can't answer, I will. Let's see. Help children struggling to eat. Please donate through this site." "Mom, stop it. This is the webpage you created to collect donations, isn't it?" I called Dave from my phone, but I couldn't reach him. There on the website was the crowdfunding page created by Dave and his wife. It prominently featured photos of Joe looking gaunt and shabby, with his little sister Susie on his back. There was even a video of Joe saying, "I'm hungry, please donate." Dave looked shocked and stunned. "How did? Mom, you never use the internet." "That's true, but I can ask a friend who knows about these things." "Damn it. So that's how it is. This page has been widely shared. Even my friends knew about it. Last night, after putting the kids to bed, I contacted a friend of mine who is proficient with the internet. When I realized my grandchildren were being used in a crowdfunding scheme, she was the first person I thought of. I sent her Joe's photo to confirm, and she responded, "I remember this kid. In fact, I donated." You didn't want to let go of the kids because they were making money for you, but taking them on the trip would have exposed your lie, so you went to Hawaii alone? Yeah, that's right. Dave lowered his head, frowning and silent for a moment. Then suddenly, he started shaking with laughter. But you don't know this, Mom. All it takes is a single button to delete this page, the photos, and the videos from the internet. How terrible can you be? I'll clean it up later. Too bad for you. Even as my husband glared, Dave's wife shouted, "Violence isn't the answer," causing a commotion. I felt like sighing in exasperation. Listen, Dave, if you had admitted your mistakes and shown remorse, we might have considered leniency. Hey, what are you gonna do, old woman? Do you really think I wouldn't take any measures? My friends have already saved screenshots of the page, the photos, and the videos. Dave looked stunned, his face turning pale. When Tom let go of him, he collapsed to the floor. Unable to stand, Dave crawled across the floor, clutching at my feet. Wait, Mom. Let's talk this through. I'm perfectly calm. What are you going to do with those saved images and videos? No, don't tell me. Just don't do it, please. You know what's at stake for me. I told you we shouldn't have done this, his wife yelled, while Dave yelling repeatedly. But Dave grabbed her head, despite her resistance, and pushed it to the floor, shouting, "You should apologize too." Too late for that. Look around. When Dave and his wife raised their heads fearfully at my words, their eyes widened in shock, because the crowd of onlookers surrounding them was all pointing their phones at Dave and his wife. "Stop it! Don't film us!" Dave tried to cover his face with his hands, but it was too late. "I'm cutting ties with you both. Joe and Susie are coming with us. You've lost your rights as parents." With a resolute attitude, I took my grandchildren and left the airport. Later, videos taken by the onlookers spread online. When a friend who had seen their site posted the truth, protecting the children's privacy, Dave and his wife were exposed as frauds and faced a public outcry. Dave's company, which dealt with children's products, fired him immediately. With their faces revealed in the viral videos, they had nowhere to go. Meanwhile, we filed a lawsuit to permanently revoke our son and his wife's parental rights. The lawsuit was successful, and we were granted custody of our grandchildren. Since then, the kids have become attached to my husband, who dotes on them. Our home now rings with the joyful sounds of children, and I couldn't be happier.